have with us, and I said our topic today was going to be facing some of the hard stuff, right? But we're going to give you a big treat and reward at the end, so don't get nervous. But David Turk is here, and he is a special needs planning expert. He is coming to us from Serenitas Special Needs Planning. And David, we're so thrilled to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I do want to point out for everybody watching that David is not an attorney, and so this is not to be misconstrued as any kind of advice. But you are a special needs planning expert, and a lot of us avoid that, David.
Very true.
We really do. We like run the other way. I shared with you the other day, and I shared with them this morning that my plan for the future is simply to live forever. And I know a lot of parents that subscribe to this,
Sure.
and we laugh about it, but it's not really that funny. This is some serious business. So we got a lot of things that we're going to talk about, but first, let's face the hard stuff. So there's a group of things that we need to do to plan for the future. Wills, I don't even know what else. Tell us a little bit about what we need to be doing.
Well, fantastic. So thank you again for having me here today.
Thrilled to have you.
Let me back up and just give you an overview of special needs planning, because
Okay.
many families, they hear planning and all they think about is legal. And while crucially important, there are a number of other elements that go into it. So on the legal component, it's important to understand all of the different types of documents, and there are a number of them that all work together. There's a will, there's a family trust, and there are different types of special needs trusts that address different situations, and it's important to understand what's appropriate for you.
Okay. If you have a will, do you need a trust as well?
You do.
Okay.
Well, with the goal in mind is to be able to maintain government benefits and still have assets that can provide for a better quality of life.
Okay.
To do that, you would need a special needs trust,
Okay.
which specifically addresses that component, which allows assets to be in this type of trust, protected
Okay.
for the individual, and still be able to maintain government benefits, specifically SSI and the Medicaid program, Medi-Cal, here in California.
Okay, so not just enough to have the will that says all of my money goes to this person, you've got to have the facility for where the money goes, otherwise it could end up tanking all of their governmental funding.
Correct.
Basically? Okay.
Exactly, because Social Security has a stipulation that one cannot have over $2,000 of assets in their name.
Yeah.
If a will passed everything to the individual, those assets would be theirs. They would not only be ineligible for SSI benefits, but Medi-Cal or Medicaid could come back and ask for payment for past services rendered.
Okay, we don't want that.
So planning, there are a lot of nuances to it,
Okay.
but it doesn't have to be so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things philosophically I want to share with families is that the goal and the gift of planning is providing everyone involved with some peace of mind.
And it occurs to me that a lot of us, I'm just going to call on myself, we're control freaks,
Sure.
right? And I don't want to ever die because I want to control it. But if I could tap into the control freak in me and just for a second face that I'm not going to live forever, then I would want to do this because I want to be able to call the shots even after I'm dead.
That's exactly right.
And we can. So if we do this. So when we would meet with somebody like you,
Correct.
who's a special needs planning expert, and I want to make sure that we give out your information so that if people want to contact you and your business, but what kinds of things are we, like, how long is it going to take? What are we actually looking at logistically?
Logistically, it can take as little as 2 to 3 weeks to do.
Okay.
It's a matter of how diligent one is about putting the thought into it and how much thought you want to put into it.
Is it just thought, or do I have to have the paperwork in line too?
Well, the thought is the hardest part.
Okay.
Really, that's the hardest part, is what do I want for my loved one and my family, and how do I want to structure it?
Okay.
The paperwork, that's fairly easy.
Okay.
That can be done really quite quickly. and we just want to make sure that everything, that your wishes and the control freak in you is satisfied.
Okay. I think a lot of us are afraid to get to the planning phase because we don't feel like there is any money to be left and we don't want to face that.
That's
Do you
very true.
do you find that it's less of a nerve-wracking thing than we think it's going to be?
It is, and I often find that there's often good news
Okay.
when we get together. There are often more funds available through Social Security potentially.
Okay.
And one of the things that we do, in addition to the legal planning, I mentioned there are other aspects to special needs planning, and clearly one of those aspects is understanding the government benefits that we're entitled to today,
Yes.
as well as in the future, and they're different.
Yes.
And that's part of the planning process, is what can we expect coming in, how do we maximize what is available to us, and how do we protect it?